Right, is that a fair
If
summary
I'd have been in the US election, I would have voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, OK. Why is he dangerous?
He's dangerous to the world. He's got very strange views on climate change and the environment, which he thinks is a Chinese plot. So I'm worried about the Paris Climate Accord and what's happened there. He's dangerous to the Middle East. On the one hand, he says he wants to destroy ISIS, which we're all in favour of. On the other hand, he wants to retreat America from world power and influence. He's dangerous to trade because of his views on trade and free trade. And he's dangerous as a character. I think what we've seen is just how irascible and irrational he can be. So you put all that together, and I, like many of your contributors from the States, am genuinely worried about a Donald Trump presidency, leaving aside all the misogyny, the race baiting, the nativism, the ugliness that he has allowed to develop within American politics. I mean, America has this beautiful, lovely democratic tradition, which is very strong, which is very powerful, but what he's done is allowed certain views to be given airtime and space. He's legitimized a language of extremism, which I find as a progressive deeply unsettling.
But very popular with a majority. Philip Davies, what would you say about him?
Well, he's dangerous to people like Tristan because he's ripped up the political handbook. I mean, basically what the liberal metropolitan elite in this country and in America decide is what things you're allowed to say, what things you're allowed to get away with saying, and if you don't stick to those rules, they are going to come after you, and they're going to make you look like a complete clown, an idiot. They're going to hurl abuse at you, and eventually you'll give in. You'll back down and give in, and you'll make sure that no one else ever dares raises those subjects again. And Donald Trump hasn't been cowed by the liberal establishment, by the liberal media. He's plodded on, and actually he's had the nerve to articulate what clearly millions of people in America are actually thinking. And rather than the metropolitan elite, the media, London, Washington-based media, rather than just pursuing this same old strategy of saying, well, that everyone in America is an idiot for voting for Trump. If you voted for Trump, you must be an idiot. If you voted for Brexit in the UK, you must be an idiot. Actually, what people should be doing amongst the metropolitan elites, in the media establishment, the London lovies, they should be saying, actually, we're out of touch here with a lot of massive parts of our own country. We're out of touch with massive parts of the American country. We're doing something wrong here. It's us that are wrong. We're out of touch. But no, they still pursue the same old strategy.
Is that not a fair point, Philip Davies, to question yourself and see how he's managed to pull this off? I
think you can do two things. First of all, you can say you are opposed to sexism and racism, which Donald Trump has endorsed, and that's a red line. But you can also say, as Philip suggests, we have lessons to learn on the left when another progressive candidate has been beaten. We had lessons to learn about Brexit, and where you see vast numbers of poor, predominantly non-college educated, white working class voters think that their economic interests lie with this multi-billionaire who wants to slash taxes for the richest and support corporate welfare. And we, as progressives, either Democrats or Labour, aren't getting into them.
He's going to bring the steel jobs back, for example, by imposing 45% tariffs on Chinese imports. That's one of the reasons why they voted for him.
And we will also see, and this is the kind of danger of it, the ability of him to deliver either the wall in Mexico, either the deportation within the first hour of millions of people, and whether he'll be able to solve this Chinese trade problem. But I accept the challenge, which is that we on the left are not speaking to the communities for whom we came into being to represent, and they are pursuing alternative political options based around both economics, because they feel their living standards are not improving, and they're right on that, but also questions of identity, of love of country, of patriotism.
Philip Davies, do you expect Donald Trump as president-elect, and perhaps we saw a flavour of it yesterday in his speech, to adopt a more moderate tone and perhaps to compromise in a way that we have not seen during the election campaign?
Yeah, I think he probably will do. I think that you should bear in mind that we look at this through a British prism. Actually, the reason the Republican establishment hated Donald Trump so much in America was because they thought he was too left-wing. He wasn't really a true Republican, that he was a Democrat really at heart. So I think actually many of the fears that have been whipped up are probably not justified. about Donald Trump. I think he'll be much more moderate than people in this country seem to think he'll be. That's what I expect.
So he's not going to carpet bomb ISIS. He's not going to impose massive tariffs on Chinese imports. He's not going to build that wall.
Whether he imposes tariffs on China or not, I don't know. There'll be lots of people in Tristan's constituency who would like to see tariffs on cheap steel.
You can't be a fan of that, can you?
No, I believe in the free market. But look, my point is this: there's an awful lot of people in this country, and clearly in America, who feel unrepresented. They're called white working class people. And actually the Labour Party that was once set up to represent working class people are now a million miles away. They wouldn't recognise a working class person if they tripped over one.
We take a different view about what the best interests and how to support white working class communities and black communities and Asian communities in a complicated era of globalisation and change. And what we say on the left is you've got to provide the skills, you've got to provide the support, you've got to provide the investment in those areas that need it. And
if talk about the white working class in the Labour Party, you don't.
I'm very happy. Now. I've always been happy to talk about it, and I'm very strong that the Labour Party needs to be talking much more about English identity and Englishness, because if we are afraid of voicing love of country, if we are afraid of voicing patriotism, then people think we're not on their side. And I think that the lesson from Trump, in a sense, is we're going to make, no move towards the sexism and racism and nativism. We're absolutely clear about that. We're anti-racist party. But we also need to be clear that when it comes to identity, as well as economics, we need to be speaking to the communities we represent.
Last word.
Well, I just think the political class and the metropolitan elites, the media...
Are you not part of the political class?
No, I'm anti-establishment. I made clear...
How can you be anti-establishment when you've been in
I made clear in my maiden speech I would never join the government, I would never accept a promotion, I'd always stay on the backbenches. And politicians and the media are going to have to wake up, because actually out in the country lots of people do not have their narrow view of the world, and people, you need to get out more. You need to get out more. You all need to get out more. The BBC needs to get out more and find out that actually people in the country need to actually get out into the country and find out that people don't share this narrow, liberal, metropolitan London view of the world, and they didn't learn that lesson from Brexit even. I actually thought Brexit would teach the London-based media, actually we've got a problem here, we're wrong. But no, carry on, just tell everyone who voted that is a fool, they're all wrong, we'll keep bombarding them with all the propaganda. One day you're going to have to learn the lesson. The public now are not going to be swayed by that. The public have had enough of this kind of politics and this kind of media. They're now prepared to stand up to it and not be cowed by it.
Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you. Tristram Hunt.